seeing a penis on YouTube was pretty interesting.
Hello and welcome to Movie Rewind. I am your host, Michael Jennison, and my guest host today will be Ian Leake, who you'll hear from in a second. Full disclosure, we did episode 85, and essentially it went 3.5 hours long because of how much we talked about Ari Aster's older films. And to prevent publishing a pod that's longer than Beau Is Afraid, I decided the best thing to do was to split the recap of Ari Aster's previous work and just do the Eddington review on episode 85. So without further ado, here is me and Ian. We are going to be talking about Ari Aster, like all things Ari Aster, because Eddington came out about last week, 2 weeks ago. And so, yeah, we're going to kind of go through his work and then talk about his some of his shorts, his 3 feature films, and then leading into Eddington, which you can hear that review on episode 85. Before we kind of get into anything, Ian, what's your relationship with Ari Aster movies? What was the first one you saw, and what kind of got you super interested in them?
You know, I really think I think Hereditary was first for me probably, but Midsummer is really, what sucked me in. I just think that Midsummer is probably one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. Just from start to finish, you really don't know what's going on in this movie. I think that the colors in that movie were really cool. But yeah, I think Midsummer was really just grabbed onto me so much so that my wife and I did, Halloween costumes that were Midsummer themed. So yeah, I think that movie just really set it in stone for me.
I do want to say that it's funny that my first 2 podcast hosts back to back from coming back, they both, Ryan was on the Wes Anderson pod and he did Grand Budapest Hotel for a Halloween costume. And then I brought Ian on for this, that did the Midsummer couple costume. So, I mean, probably intentional because I knew they were both big fans of both directors, but yeah. I agree. Actually, the thing that I saw first was a strange thing about the Johnsons.
Okay.
It was
the thing to see first.
It was my second. I was dating a girl in college, and our second date, she showed me that movie at the end of the date, which is one of the most effed up movies that you will ever see, and very bold on her part. But it was right at the time that Hereditary was coming out. It might have been right after Hereditary came out, actually. So she was like, "Oh, this is a movie that he made in film school, that he did," and I watched it, and I mean, a bold move on her part, but it worked. I was impressed.
I mean, right out of the gates, that one just starts out insane,
Yeah.
and it doesn't stop. You think maybe it's just a little bit of a weird start. I think I wrote literally my notes when I was watching this is strange first scene, and then at the end of it, I wrote down so weird. Those are the only 2 notes I made for that movie.
Yeah.
It was just it was an interesting one.
Yes. And yeah, we'll get into the shorts here in a second, but what was I going to say? Yeah, so that was my first relationship with Ari Aster. I saw Hereditary. I wasn't a massive fan of Hereditary, but then it was Midsummer. I think I saw Midsummer twice in theaters, maybe within the same week. That movie, you could just tell that it was just jam packed with a bunch of stuff in the background and stuff, those beautiful colors. And then I rewatched it about last week for the first time, I think, since theaters, and I honestly, it's better than I even remember. And
Dude,
so
I thought the same thing. Yeah.
yeah, it just plays so well. And then from that point on, I've been kind of really hooked and really locked into Ari Aster. He's only 39, which is crazy. I thought he was close to 50. Especially
you look
looking
at
at
him
him.
and you think
Yeah, he's not aging well. Sorry, Ari.
he's got that mid-40s vibe at least. You know
For,
what I mean? And
for,
yeah,
for sure. But yeah, I think he's just different, man. He's a very much you can tell an Ari Aster movie from the rip. He loves to take it down a deep dark path, but try to tie in some really good I don't know, view on culture, view on society. Does it in a very, very twisted way, but it's really fun. He's endlessly entertaining and honestly very funny. These movies are very funny, especially once you get past the horror aspect. The second or third time you watch it, it's not quite as scary because you know what's going to happen. Then you start laughing a bunch more.
exactly. And all the kills are actually low key funny. Yeah, and if you know they're coming, it's a little less intense.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. All right, so let's get into these movies. We'll just do the timeline of events here, and we'll go down his shorts here. So the strange things about the Johnsons, we've already briefly talked about it,
Hmm.
but um, I watched it this week, and I was visiting a friend, uh, and I he's a pretty big movie guy. E2, Michael E2. I think he's been a guest on this pod too.
Hmm.
And we were talking about. I was talking about this podcast, and I was like, "Oh, I actually need to watch. I actually need to watch some of his shorts." And so I threw this one on, and he just
Oh my
stood
God.
there with his mouth open, staring at the screen for 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
if you haven't seen this movie, it's on YouTube. It's 30 minutes long. It's highly entertaining. I would make sure you watch in a safe space because it's not appropriate for like almost anybody.
Hmm.
But yeah.
I was gonna say it's one of the longer ones, and it's one of the harder ones to watch too. So yeah, you're strapping down for 30 minutes of some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, and we'll get into spoilers here because this short's impossible not to spoil because it just like it's super fast paced. So we'll get into spoilers here for a second. The opening masturbation scene about the
And
picture of his father, you just know for the rip that this is going to be a, a trip. And like,
yeah,
oh my God.
like did the stuff with his dad start before that scene? You think, or you think it started after that scene? It's hard
So
to tell.
is it established how old he is in that scene? Like 16 maybe ish?
He might be younger,
He
honestly.
might
There.
be younger. I mean,
Well, there is a jump forward that says what, like 15 years later in
oh,
this one, because it
oh,
jumps forward to his wedding, and I forget how many years it is when they showed the jump.
what's
But it does establish that, but I'm not too sure exactly the ages. But he's young.
he, you're right. It might be fifth because the one scene where the mother she finds out about it and the mother confronts him. She says, did it start on prom night? Because like the father came home and
Hmm.
crying, and he was like, that was 10 years ago. So I do think that he was like a
Yep.
teenager, and then it jumps ahead to when he's like 28, and
Yeah.
married. But
The ass
what's
grab at the wedding.
the ass
That
grab at the wedding, the blowjob behind the picket fence. What's your interpretation of this one?
I
What is
really
Ari
like.
Aster trying to tell us?
I think that he's like trying to touch. I really don't know, other than like just pointing at pedophilia, and like there's like certain like other Ari Aster like shorts that I thought were gonna go down that route that didn't. So I was wondering if that was like a common theme that he was poking at. But I really don't know past that. I think it might just be a really he was just trying to do something really fucked up in film school. But I don't know. That's the only thing I could like really take away from that.
Yeah, I agree. My interpretation of it is just I think he's going for the shock factor. Obviously, this
Yeah,
is one of the most disturbing pieces of cinema I've ever watched, maybe the most.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think for me.
I think it's horrifying. But I will say that I think it has to do with like assault and sexual assault and like abusive like relationships. I think he spun it on his
Hmm.
head because he likes to kind of play with like the narrative a lot in these movies, and I think that
Yeah.
it's more because like it's the son essentially raping the father instead
Hmm.
of the opposite of what you're typically to see. So I think that he just spins it on its head, and it makes it somehow more disturbing just because like you're not used to movies like that. And I mean, I think he's just trying to kind of show the damages of, those abusive relationships, but he
Yeah.
spins the relationship on his head, so it's just like the most crazy, weird, cringy thing ever.
Yeah, because it's obvious that the father probably started it. Well, it's hard. I guess it probably went both ways, but the father leaned into it as when he was a kid, and then made it normal. And then I think he's just kind of leaning into like people enabling that kind of stuff too, because the mom obviously knew about it, never said anything about it. Kind of
Yeah,
showing her guilt of it. Through the end
yeah.
of it. That she's known and didn't really do anything about it, even after the wedding, everything like that. So. Yeah, there's just I think he's just really digging into, some of those systemic issues and just like really pushing it as far as he can.
I know, but my buddy was like, I'm kind of mad you watch this on my YouTube account.
Yeah, it's throwing some flags for sure.
Yeah, it's really
And
not
getting
for
some recommendations.
yeah, it's really not for everybody. If you watch it and you can't make it to the first scene, stop watching it because it only gets worse. But that's a strange thing about the Johnsons. It's on YouTube. All his shorts are on YouTube. I guess I recommend it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
interesting. If you really like
If
Ari
you're,
Aster, I think
yeah,
you'll like it.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's like if you appreciate his shock factor stuff, you'll definitely enjoy that one. I don't know about enjoy, but you'll take something away from it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. The next one's Beau.
Mm.
And I think we'll talk about Beau when we talk about Beau Is Afraid because I think it's impossible to talk about both at the same time. Both those came out in 2013. So we will jump ahead to The Turtle's Head.
So good.
I loved it.
Me too. I thought it was hilarious. I didn't stop laughing the entire time.
I um
What did
I
they?
I I showed also this to E2 right afterwards and I brought
Oh
him
my
back.
god.
I brought him back. He was like, "All right, that was actually just hilarious."
Uh-huh. It's that one was there wasn't a whole lot of crazy shock factor in that one, except for seeing a penis in on YouTube was pretty interesting. Are they allowed to show that on YouTube?
I guess I mean they do. They show the nuts too. Like they show the whole
Yeah,
genitalia. Nothing blurred
yeah,
out.
yeah. Oh, I don't know if maybe I spoiled there, but it's about if you did you say what it was about?
No, we haven't. It's about a penis. Yeah. So,
That's pretty much
I mean,
all.
it's impossible to talk about these movies without spoiling them. This is on
Yeah,
YouTube too. This one's 10 minutes, and this one I would recommend it to most people. If you like
yeah.
this podcast, this humor is up your alley. It's about a man who's actually the grandfather from Grounded for Life. Did you ever watch that sitcom?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so I used to watch that show when I was like little, and I haven't seen him in anything else besides that. And I was like, oh, it's the grandfather from Grounded for Life, and then it just is the funniest thing ever off of that. But he's a detective,
Yeah.
who's like very misogynistic. He's like his voiceovers are talking about how he wants to bang his the girls who are like hiring him to like do their private detective work, and he's like having affairs with a bunch of people. He's just a horrible guy.
Yeah.
Super sexually aggressive man, and his penis slowly shrinks into his body throughout the course of the 10-minute movie, and it's hilarious.
His doctor just, pulling out old pictures of his penis absolutely sent me. I was like, couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he's like,
Like what?
you know, I took these pictures. What are you talking about?
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I think Ari Aster blends humor so well into like I'm not going to say that a man's penis shrinking into his body is like a, something to be concerned about, but I do think that this is about like I don't know, over the top like sexual harassment kind of again. And
Yeah,
just how like important sexuality is to males, and then how he just doesn't care about anything else after his penis starts shrinking into his body, other than his
yeah,
penis.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then he comes up with
Doesn't
this
doesn't
elaborate
leave it to
like
crawl.
yeah, that comes with this elaborate like fish reel contraction to try to get it out of his body, which is just hilarious. And
Right. It's
that's
just I yeah. That's all you could say about that one. That's all that happens in that one, and it's just like unreal.
yeah, he's like it went inside, or no, she's like it went inside. It's
Did
at the
it
end, he's like
cut there?
trying to get
Yeah.
he's trying to get like the woman to like wrap it around the fish
Yeah.
rod around his penis and get it out of him, and yeah, that's when you see the dick.
Mhm. And then I forget, it just cuts. That's the last scene, right? Does he die?
No, so it ends with I like the ending a lot. It ends with him laying in bed like super sad, and like his two
Yeah.
like detectives underneath him are like, "Hey, we just had a
We
breakthrough
solved
in
the
this
case.
case." Yeah, he
Yeah.
just does not care. All he cares about
Uh,
is the fact that his penis is gone.
yeah. And they're just like running with all the leads and actually solving the case and the whole thing. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Does that topic even really play into kind of what he's going with for a theme here? I forget what they're investigating. Something about cesium levels in fish or something like that.
Yeah. I I totally forget what they were. I was caught by his penis. The fact
Yeah.
that it's also called the turtle's head is awesome.
Hmm. Totally didn't know what that was about until, you get about halfway through and start to connect the dots.
Yeah, and I watched these in order of the way we're talking them. It was a nice little breather after
Yeah.
the strange things about the Johnsons.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what order I watched them in. I think I started going through like some of the producer ones, and then I realized that they were like just exclusively director ones. So I kind of watched these in kind of like a weird order. So I definitely got a different order of viewing than you did. So that was probably good comic relief right there.
100%, yeah. And I brought E2 back. And then the last one that I watched. Did you watch any other shorts? Well, Bo, but we'll talk about Bo in a little bit.
I watched Basically. Did you watch Basically?
I didn't watch Basically. You want to talk about Basically?
Yeah, that one. It's like kind of like about an aspiring actress, and like I don't know. It sounds like kind of she was pressured into acting from like her mother and stuff like that. It's kind of just like a one long monologue. She's just speaking to the camera, and it's kind of like I don't know if you watched C'est La Vie. That was another.
I did watch Say Lovey, which I actually really
Okay,
did.
I did too. Yeah, so like how he's talking to the camera. It was like basically she's an aspiring actress in Hollywood, and her just talking about like her life basically, and I don't know, it just sounded like she was very materialistic, and it was okay, not a lot of shock factor in it. It was just pretty political, I would say. But yeah, I would say it was probably my least favorite. It was the first one I watched of the shorts. But it was mildly interesting, just kind of
Kind of boring.
not kind of boring, yeah, not very shocking at
Was that
all.
also on YouTube?
Yeah, that one was on YouTube too.
Cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Did you
And
watch Herman's Cure All Tonic? I watched that one.
no, I did
He's
not.
That one has like the worst quality video I've ever seen
Yeah,
on YouTube. So it was kind of hard to watch, but
it's
that one
from
was good.
it's from 2008.
Yeah. But I thought that it would have decent quality because there were some other ones from like 2008, right? Like let's
That's
see.
the first one. That's he was
Oh, that
22
was
when
the
he made
first
that
one.
one.
Okay.
It takes
Yeah, that
place in a
one.
pharmacy.
Yeah, yeah. So it takes place in a pharmacy, and
Should have
basically,
watched
I
it.
think
Damn.
his dad basically owned the pharmacy before him, and he had like these tonics, and it was like a cure-all tonic. Basically, he took it if you're feeling bad, and like I don't know, he was like making the tonic wrong, and then all of a sudden something was like oozing out of his dad's body. So he started filling the tonic bottles with like the ooze from his dad's body, and it was like selling like crazy. People were loving it. And then after that, yeah, it was hard to see, but I think it was like more gruesome than I could even tell because it was just so blurry on YouTube. Um, but yeah, that one was good. I think you'd like that one.
Damn. I missed that one. That
Hmm.
that does sound more interesting. What was the theme behind it? You give all yourself to what you do? I don't know.
I guess so. I don't know. His dad was like kind of like this gross like overweight guy just stuck in a chair basically. So I
Oh.
don't know if maybe his dad was selling that his whole life, or I don't know. It was kind of confusing and it was kind of hard to track just because I couldn't really see through
Yeah.
the blur very well. Like if you go watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just like impossible to really tell what's going on with how bad the video quality is.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, sometimes I'm like, is there a deeper meaning to what I'm watching, or is Ari Aster just trying to be as effed up as possible? And I think it's a little
I
bit of
took that
both.
one. Yeah, I took that one at face value of just being like really fucked up and gross. Because like I don't know. I guess maybe he was just using his dad for all he has left and doesn't really care about his dad's health. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe it's something about not.
anti-capitalism,
Yeah,
consumerism. Yeah, maybe. I could see that.
yeah. That one was interesting. And then there was TDF really works. That was like a 2.5 minute like sketch on YouTube, and that one it was like Ari Aster's in it. He's actually like one of the two guys that are in it, and TDF stands for I think tiny dick farts or something like that. It's yeah, it's like an infomercial basically about how to fart out of your dick, and that one is pretty interesting. And I'll talk a little more about that one when we talk about Beau Is Afraid because there's some like parallels. I've
Okay.
noticed that I picked up a lot of like little things from some of these shorts that were in Beau Is Afraid. So we'll talk about some of those when we get to that point.
And we should mention that Beau Is Afraid was meant to be his, that was his like first, that's what he wanted his first feature length film to be,
Mm,
was Beau Is Afraid. So that makes
yeah.
sense. I believe that Beau Is Afraid was written a while ago and then kind of came
Okay.
back.
Well,
I
yeah,
believe.
because I mean, it sounds like I was like reading through some of the comments of Bo, and they're like, yeah, if you really like stick through something that you believe in, like you can obviously turn it into something that like Bo is afraid, which I thought was a very, very good movie.
And it's interesting. Well, we'll wait till we get to Beau Is Afraid.
Yeah.
And then
Uh-huh.
so the last one I saw is one Sieste La Vie.
Yeah.
It follows a homeless man in LA, and it's a little absurd. It's also a little bit. I think it's kind of playing into he likes to just take everything to like 11, just go as absurd as he
Hmm.
possibly can. So it's playing in a lot of stereotypes of what we are worried about homeless people.
Hmm.
While also the homeless person's doing this monologue that's like the issues with modern day society. It's good. I found it entertaining.
Yeah.
A little preachy, but I think it's meant to be a little preachy, and it worked.
I
It
think it's
was
supposed to be in your face. Yeah. Kind
yeah.
of like really pointing at the issue of like how people perceive the homeless. And yeah, I mean, I have a brother who lives in California. You live in California, and like the media seems to make the homeless issue out to be, I mean, it is bad in certain areas of towns, but like I think that he's just really showing that like the people who are homeless are like come from different backgrounds, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they weren't born into that, they didn't choose to be that it's just something that people end up into, and they're not always going to be like that either. You can't know that for sure. And I think that yeah, he just really digs into that um yeah,
Yeah.
that storyline. Yeah.
Yeah, like over the top violence. Like
Hmm.
he's a hitchhiker, then he murders the person that's driving him for like no apparent reason. He
Hmm.
breaks into a house and just shoots the
Yep.
homeowner, like those kind of things. I will say also, I went to San Francisco for the first time in a bit this weekend, and not that bad of a homeless population as people make it out to be.
Yeah, no, not at all. And like there are certain areas, don't get me
Oh
wrong,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like I could walk around that city and feel like so comfortable. Like there's different political beliefs that, have really pushed the narrative of San Francisco being like this, wasteland. And
this
it's really
cesspool.
nothing
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
no,
It's such
yeah,
a beautiful city, and yeah, encourage
extreme.
anyone to go there.
Yeah. I will also say that the majority of homeless people are not violent at all. Like usually
Oh,
the homeless people are usually the people that I'm like least concerned about when I'm walking down the street.
yeah.
Because usually they're just trying to mind their own business. Me and Ryan actually we were walking out San Diego and there was this homeless guy. As we were golfing, he ran up into the woods and then he was just chilling up there and he pulled out a mini speaker. He was like clearly homeless. Pulled out a mini speaker and just started playing Kendrick.
Okay, yeah.
It
That's
was
awesome.
sick. It was sick. It was a vibe.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I thought that was really good. I thought it was entertaining. It was like a funny 8 minutes. And that one was really well shot. You could tell that was filmed in
Hmm.
2016. You could tell that he was getting ready to make his first feature length movie. I can't
Yeah.
remember a director that has this many shorts. Um,
No.
and they're
Well,
all just
because
go on.
I was just gonna say when we spoke, like you were like, "Oh," because like, we were talking about how we wanted to like watch the movies again to like get
Yeah.
ready for this. And you're like, "Well, he's only got the four movies basically," and I'm like, "Well, I feel like I want to be like cohesive here." And I was like going through his IMDb, and I'm like, he's got a ton of shorts that he's like director or producer on, and I think that like they're all like awesome, and they all play into like his themes, and um there's just a lot of parallels between like some of these shorts and some of his movies, which I think is super cool.
Yeah,
So
100%. Like,
yeah.
um, the first decade of his career are all these shorts, and all his themes, um, come back in these feature length films. You can tell that, yeah, you can tell that, like, it's very obvious that it's like Ari Aster. It's got all the themes that you want in them.
Hmm.
It's funny, it's dark, it's got all that stuff going for it. So I thought very cool. Anyone that's a big Ari Aster fan, or just has an hour to kill on YouTube, you could do much worse than watching these shorts. Um,
Absolutely.
I didn't realize that shorts. There's so many shorts on YouTube. Bottle Rocket shorts popped up afterwards. Wes Anderson's first movie, he did like a 15-minute short of Bottle Rockets before he filmed Bottle Rockets. There's like a
Oh
ton
wow.
of. There's a whole different. There's a lot of. There's obviously a lot on YouTube, but there's a lot of like shorts on YouTube, which is like
I
a
mean,
really entertaining way to kill like 15 minutes.
there's a reason why shorts are such a big part of like the reward season. Like there's so many shorts that are made every single year, and I mean, it's because they're cheaper to make, and you can still kind of pack the same punch. You just don't have as big of like a storyline. So I think that, it gives, up and coming directors, producers like a good platform to really like put their themes into and get their work out there.
Yeah, and I find them highly entertaining because they just jump straight
Yeah.
into it. There's no background really. It's just like boom, let's get this
Yeah.
going.
So
So
it's definitely like something I need to like explore more. And like as like like I obviously don't have a ton of time to like get to theaters and
yeah,
see some of these like movies. It's like a good way for me to like get a taste of, some of the cinema that's out there in like a short form, you know what I mean? So
for sure.
yeah, I definitely got to dive into shorts more for sure.
Every year they package all the Oscar shorts together into like one feature length film, which is really cool.
Okay.
I've tried to make that. I've tried to watch it a few times. It's a good time. Last thing I have to say. Okay, which one was your favorite and which one was your least favorite? Putting you on
Okay.
the spot here.
Let me see here. Let me look through my notes here. Um, okay. I do think that the strange thing about the Johnsons might be my favorite just because of the shock factor. And it had like the most I don't know, it was like the longest one, it felt like it had the most to it. I think that that one was probably my favorite. Let's see, which other one did I watch that I think that basically was my least favorite. It was just kind of boring. I thought that the monologue didn't like really punch into my face enough, I wanted like more shock factor. So I think that those are probably my favorite, least favorite. How about you?
My my favorite is also the strange things about the Johnsons,
Yeah,
which maybe puts me like on a list to the government or something. I'm not sure, but I
let's
find
go up
that
there.
yeah, I find that I just found it's really entertaining. It flies for 30 minutes. Like it's
Uh-huh.
weird. It's really, really weird, but I really dug it. I also think that's the easiest that or like the turtle head. I think that's the easiest for me to like
Yeah.
actually I don't know. Siesta Levy too. It's easy for me to like get what he's trying to get across. I
Hmm.
think he does a good job in the short period of time of getting his point across. But I think the Strange of the Johnsons was the best theme for me. Kind of let me sink my teeth in
Yeah.
a little bit more. Really, really disturbing. But I mean, molestation is really disturbing. So like
Yeah.
it's not cheap. Like he's not being disturbing just to being disturbing. Like he's really trying to drive home a point there, and I think it works in a
Yeah.
really,
I think
really
so
weird
too.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, my
I
my
do have an
least
honorable mention. Oh, sorry, you got to go least favorite, and then I'll give my honorable mentions here.
my least favorite is probably Beau, which is probably a cop out, but it's just a scene from Beau Is Afraid, but it's just worse quality essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. So much worse quality. I watched that one right after I watched Strange Thing About the Johnsons, and I thought it was funny to see the same actor back to back, like in different roles.
Yes,
Um,
this poor guy.
but seriously, he's been through a lot in those
Yeah, and
two
then
shorts.
and then Ari Aster can't like give him a role in one of his featured like films after that.
I know, seriously, what the heck is that all about? Um, so one of the other shorts I watched was Munchausen. Did you watch that one?
No, and
That
this one has a Wikipedia page. I should have watched
yeah,
this.
no dialogue, no words at all. It's
Damn.
all just like basically it's you can tell what's going on. It's pretty obvious. It's like about a kid who's going away to college and his mom like sees his entire future like over the next like 4 5 years and she doesn't want him to go away to college. So she ends up giving him like this like it was like kind of like a little medicine that makes him sick. And ultimately, spoiler, he ends up dying because of it. So it's just like kind of playing into, parents becoming like overbearing, trying to prevent their kids from growing up. And no, it was really good. I actually really enjoyed that one. That one was
Oh,
a pretty good one.
that plays well into Beau too.
Yeah, definitely. It's like
Oh,
the same. Yeah. Bo is
yeah.
that's a good connection there for
Same
sure.
concept here.
So that one was good. And then so yeah, Munchausen sounds like it ties into some of the common Ari Aster themes as well.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to mention some of his producer stuff. Like there was one from 2021, Los Huesos. It was like I guess that means like the bones in Spanish, and it's like stop motion and no dialogue again, but just like kind of tells a story. It was kind of interesting, just a little bit different than typical Ari Aster stuff, and um, I just thought it was pretty neat to see.
What
So
what
take a look at that one.
what was that one?
Los Huesos. It was
Los
on his IMDb as producer credits, and
2021. Yeah.
yeah,
Is that
it's
a
pretty
short?
interesting. It's a short, yeah, and it's like stop motion. Like there's like a doll and some bones, and They kind of just move around, but it's like kind of just tells a story. It's pretty good. I was
Yeah,
watching it pretty late one night, and I ended up watching it on two times speed
yeah.
to get through it, but it
Hey
was
man,
good.
hey
Yeah.
man. I think what's interesting is that he does just a ton of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like he's producing a bunch of stuff. He's doing all these shorts. Like he's
Hmm.
just been deep into like making films and helping make films just
Yeah.
for like a decade or like 2 decades now.
Yeah. I
Uh,
didn't realize that Dream Scenario was a producer credit for him too.
I didn't realize that either. Yeah, you
Yeah.
mentioned this yesterday. Like he's got a very deep producer credit.
Yeah.
He does. It's like a
Yeah.
big thing of what he is doing.
No
Anything
doubt.
left for the shorts before we jump into
No,
Hereditary?
no, I think that's it. I
All
think
right.
that the shorts were a good thing to digest before this. It was
Yeah,
interesting.
I
I
agree.
learned
I
a lot.
think yeah, I agree. You really see the like the foundation of what you're about to see here, which is we'll start with 2018 Hereditary, his directorial debut, feature length film directorial debut. Um, you want to take the first crack at this?
I will say I started it again last night and I got about like halfway through and I was like, okay, I it's this is where it starts to get scary and it's late and I want to go to bed and watch this like the rest tomorrow morning. So I actually just finished it and another one, second watch through, way better than I remember. And I thought that that was like I always remember it being good, but I just really I feel like I enjoyed it the second time around
Yeah.
better than the first time.
I for some reason I've watched Hereditary a lot of times. Like I don't know, like I watch it in theaters. I've This is probably the third time that I've seen it since it's been out. I don't know why. I have a dirty little secret to say. I want to like this movie. This movie doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah. What part of it don't you like? Is
It,
it it's kind of is it too slow or I feel like it too all over
so
the place?
well, I think I think it's a really good movie,
Hmm.
but it doesn't necessarily, I don't know, tickle my fancy. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's his most straightforward horror movie. And I'm not the
Hmm.
biggest horror fan.
Okay.
And I will say that it's very supernatural horror. And
It is, yeah.
though I do find the first 40 minutes extremely entertaining and extremely scary and like the clicking noise and all that stuff, like horrifying.
Yeah.
The last 30 minutes ish kind of loses me. And it kind of
Which is
gets,
the real horror.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The build up is great. And then the
Yeah.
last like 30-ish minutes doesn't really do it for me. I still like it. I've seen it four
Yeah.
times now. So like there is something that brings me back to it. But as I was rewatching these, I think this is my least favorite. And
That's fair.
I think it's the most horror one. It's probably the least humorous. It's very dark.
Yeah.
And it just
It
like
is dark.
yeah, and it's just like I don't know. I mean, I do enjoy it. I do think that it's scary. I do think the clicking noise is awesome. I think that the little models they do are sick.
Hmm.
And I think the car scene, and we'll get into spoilers in like half a second here. The car scene is like one of the most disturbing things ever. And
It is.
there's so many great shots in this movie. So like I do respect it. I do think it's good. I just think that it's like I kind of like when he starts getting like very like man, I'm having a tough time describing what I'm trying to say here. I like when he what's the word I'm looking for here? Like like a social critique on
Yeah.
society. I like when
Hmm.
he's more that and less. This is just kind of horror. Like I don't really take
It
a
is,
deeper
yeah.
meaning from this movie. Um,
The
and
only
so
takeaway I take is like I feel like he's trying to lean into mental illness, but then he also just leans so much further into the supernatural in this movie. So it's like you think it's going one way, but the ending just makes you just it's all supernatural. So like I don't know, I do like when yeah, I see what you mean. I feel like he didn't lean into, you know, the political or social issue in this one too much. He just kind of went with the storyline and the yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, but so we'll get into spoilers here. I feel like everyone has seen this movie and everyone loves this movie. This movie feels very beloved. Um,
Yeah.
the scene where she has an allergic reaction,
Yes.
and her head's out the window. Um, and then she gets decapitated. And then they show the body. That is the most disturbing scene,
It is.
other than maybe Midsummer's scene, that I've ever seen in theaters. This is probably more disturbing. And then so that happens, and then the way that they shoot it, where like the son drives home, which is just ridiculous, and leaves the body there,
Yeah.
and then he goes to bed, and then you hear the scream, and you see like his face, and like it zooms out and stuff, and it's almost like the model type shot.
Yeah.
That is sick. That is,
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite scene from that year, in 2018. And I think that like, I still think of that scene all the time, and just like, that is spooky, and just, yeah, like
That's a jaw on the floor kind of moment the entire time through it until he gets into bed, until the mom finds the body. You're just sitting there like, what the fuck? And like him mumbling like, you okay? Like, and then just drives off. And it's shocking. And then later when they cut back to the head on the side of the road, just covered in bugs. It's just like you know what happened, but that just like sets it in stone, and it's sickening. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just probably one of the most disturbing scenes, yeah, in a
yeah,
horror movie.
yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And then the clicking noise is set up so
Yeah.
well in the first act, and then
Hmm.
it horrifies you. I'm currently living like in a like a cabin in like the woods in
Yeah.
Napa.
I was gonna
Um,
say the wood walls, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll post a picture of my viewing experience for these Ari Aster movies, with this podcast. Just probably one of the worst situations to ever watch an Ari Aster movie. And so, spoiler alert, I kind of did what you did. I watched the first 30 minutes at night, and then I was like, you know what? I think I'm good on this. And then I watched the
Yeah.
next one during the day.
It helps a bit, yeah.
Yeah, finish it during the day, because I was just like, this is especially this was like my second day in this building, and so like, I don't know, like I didn't know my surroundings that well, like
Yeah.
all this stuff, and so I need to take a little bit of a break, but there is something that I noticed. I feel like I was able to. There's a lot in this movie, and I will be honest with you. Some of the stuff goes over my head, but the similarities that I finally connected, and I think a lot of people probably in their first viewing they were able to do this, but the similarities between the mother of Colette's of Tony Collette's character, who dies, at the beginning of the movie,
Mhm.
off, before the movie starts, and the daughter. I finally was able to kind of piece that together. They both die via like their heads getting chopped off, decapitation.
Yeah.
And you see both of their dead corpse. And I believe, if I'm interpreting this movie correctly, that the grandmother then possesses the daughter of some sort, right? And then the spirit
Yeah.
gets passed along. Is that what's happening here?
So I tried to do like a little bit of like reading to try to figure out what exactly happened. My I understanding is that the grandmother kind of ran like this like cult that like does like these seances, right? And something about like this demon has to possess like a male's body, but somehow the demon like possessed itself into um Charlie, the girl. And like they show that early on with like the light. There's like that weird light that just gets moved around throughout like the movie. And it sounds like the it went into the girl's body, but it has to be in a boy's body for like the prophecy. So like the whole movie is them trying to get this demon out of her and into the sun, is what I understood. Because then at the end, Charlie is basically like inside of the sun. And it's just like this weird thing. I didn't realize the first time I watched it that like cult almost is like behind all of it. Like they set up everything. And I think that even Ari Aster kind of confirmed that afterwards, that like it wasn't her mental illness. It was actually like the cult that was like orchestrating all the stuff, basically. They were
Okay.
basically getting her to like, do the right seances and stuff like that to like get the grandma back. And yeah, I don't know. I think that it was just like it is insane. Like there's a lot that happens in this movie, and it's like there's a lot of different interpretations, and I think that that's where it can get a little cloudy.
Yeah, and I think now that I've seen this movie a handful of times, that's really where I was trying to like wrap my head around, and that was kind of
Yeah.
my interpretation finally of this. And so I believe this is another interpretation, might be wrong here, but I believe there's a portion at the beginning where Toni Collette is like talking about how she kept the son, Alex Wolff of Naked Brothers Band,
Yeah,
playing Peter Graham. He does a great job, Alex Wolff,
he
in this
does
movie.
so good. Yeah,
Does such a good job. That Toni Collette's character was protecting Alex Wolff's character from the mother, but
yeah,
then she let her have Charlie.
yeah.
And like she breastfeeded Charlie and stuff. So I think that's how like she became possessed via
Exactly.
breastfeeding,
Yeah,
right? Right?
that makes sense. Yeah, and then I think their whole lives was the grandma trying to get that like that demon or whatever out of Charlie and into the son because it had to be in a male's body. Like that's like the whole, I guess, premise of the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that Joni or whatever, the friend of the grandmother that passed, like was basically carrying on. I don't know how long they've been trying to do this, but it sounds like it's just like been passed on. And like the naked people in that movie,
They're
I
the
thought they
cult.
were like fixations, but like no, they're like real people. Like I think that is the actual cult because they're all, around the house and in the treehouse at the end of the movie, and they're all like bowing down to. Actually, they're bowing down to Charlie's head that's put on top of that. Did you like notice that was Charlie's head that was inside the treehouse on that like statue thing?
Yes. And then there's
Yeah,
also like a map at the end that's like drawing where I think they kind of show like where the spirit has been taking over
yeah,
people. Because I think Toni Collette's character gets possessed by the spirit, right?
yeah, and it goes from her to the sun at the end, which is what the ultimate goal was, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just insane.
Yeah, so I started picking up a little bit more on that stuff this viewing, which made it better for me.
Me
Like
too. Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. Like I'm just not supernatural spirit guy. Like that doesn't scare me to the point of
hmm
like what scares me is the allergic reaction and her getting decapitated. Like that's scary as hell. Like
yeah.
the
The
human
stuff that's like
aspect.
real gruesome. Yeah,
Yeah, like that stuff scares me. The supernatural stuff, I kind of, I think I understood it
yeah,
better this viewing, but that it kind of pulls me out, and I don't really find it that scary. I don't know.
yeah. It's
So
like the paranormal activity movies. You know what I mean? Like that was scary from the way it was like filmed and some of like but like it's spirit stuff, and
yeah,
that at the end of the day, if you believe in that stuff, it's really scary to you. But like that's never something that's really like scared me all that much. And I don't know.
yeah,
I agree with you.
yeah. The Conjuring movies don't
Yeah.
really do it for me.
Nope. Yeah. Not a chance.
Anything else for Hereditary before we move on? We didn't say Toni Collette's performance. It's insanely good. All these
It's unreal.
performances are
Yeah.
nutty good. Like this is
Yeah.
one of the best well acted movies I've remembered the last 10 years.
Yep. I agree. And I think that that's a big reason why this movie has such a good following and such like a good rapport is that the acting is just insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
So
do think that the way Ari Aster directs, it brings the best out of actors. And I think that you can kind of see that across the board with all his movies.
yeah, I've been trying to like listen to a lot of Ari Aster. Like I had an hour and a half drive this morning, so I was listening to some podcasts. And as I was driving to SF on Friday, I was listening to some like podcasts and some interviews that he did. He says that his big thing is that he doesn't want the actors to feel like they're acting. Joaquin Phoenix is really big on saying that. I don't want to be an actor.
hmm
And so he says that he never wants his movies to feel like they're just trying to hit their marks and they're just like reading words off a script. He says that he wants his scripts to always feel alive, and so he says he feels like he gives the actors the ability to really bring their character to life. And like he was saying that, but I completely agree. Like his
Well,
characters are
yeah.
always so lively, and like they're
hmm
just busting off the screen always.
And I think knowing that, like watching those Joaquin Phoenix like characters, I feel like a lot of what he does seems like ad lib, which is so cool.
Yeah,
Like I feel like he is just being himself, and I do think that like the characters that he plays in these Ari Aster films is like real Joaquin Phoenix. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
feel like his own personality comes through a lot too, which I think is really cool.
I agree. I agree. He gets. You can always tell a good director. They always get their best out of their actors, and
hmm
Ari Aster for sure does. That Alex Wolf scene too, where he gets like his hand shoots up and
Oh,
it's like stiff,
slammed into the desk.
slammed into the
That's a
desk.
scary scene.
That
That
is
is
a
a scary
very
scene.
very scary scene, and that's not makeup. Alex Wolf was able to turn himself purple by just
That's
like not
crazy.
breathing. I think I'm not
And
really sure. Ari Aster didn't explain how he did it, but he was like, yeah, like we made his eye look weird, but the rest was all Alex Wolf. They were originally going to tie a string to his wrists, but
Yeah,
he was better. It looked more like scary when Alex Wolff didn't have the rope. And yeah, he went full method for this movie. Alex Wolff's performance, Tony Collette's, I feel like gets a lot of praise. I feel like Alex Wolff's performance doesn't get as enough praise. It's
seriously.
really, really good. It's probably on par with Tony Collette's. Super,
I
super.
think so too. And like to just have like some of his like stoic face scenes are just, and he does it consistently throughout the movie. He's like so there, and it just feels so real coming from him. And like the distraught in his face. Yeah, I think that he just is, he's amazing in that movie.
And before we go to the next movie, I want to say I feel so bad for the dad. I love how
Oh
just
my
like
God.
normal the dad is.
Yeah. And then just going from just trying to get his wife help to just getting lit on fire, and that's it. It's over.
Yep. It's poor guy, man. Seems
Oh,
like a great guy. I looked through my notes. We've hit pretty much everything I wanted to say. Anything you
yeah.
want to add?
I'm trying to see. I think there's that scene in dinner with the back and forth between, the mom and son, and they're just that I think that was one of the best acted scenes where they can both shine. That scene was so good. That was my only note. There's the
Where does that take place in the movie? Is it before or after the
the
daughter dies?
it's just after. Remember the dad, he cooks dinner,
Yeah.
and they're just like looking at each other, and she's like just chuckling, and he really just like pulls it out of her, and she just loses her shit. And I just think that that was an awesome scene, just to see like that real interaction between them in that moment.
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
was that was cool. And the dad just sitting there like, I just cooked dinner, and it was just, there's so much tension there.
I love that the husband is just like a good guy. Like I remember the first
He
time I
is.
watched this, I was thinking, he's gonna have this character change or something. He's up to
Hmm.
something. But no, he's just like just wants what's best for his family and just eats it. It's
Yep.
great.
It really is a good, great, great, great character. They need that kind of that base when there's two characters that are just shining, and then yeah,
You
it's
need yeah,
it's
you
such good balance.
yeah, for sure. It's like your gateway into the movie. It's like how would I react to being in this
Yeah.
family? It's done very well.
Hmm.
Next, and the one that I'm most excited to talk about is Midsummer.
Mm-hmm.
2019, I mean, just classic. I knew from the minute saw a preview for this that I knew this was gonna be a classic. It's just so good.
Yeah.
I so I think I already mentioned this. This is probably my third time watching it. I think I saw it twice in theaters. I think this is my third time watching it. Um, like it's better than I remember, and I remember
It
just
is.
loving it, and it's even better than that.
It's Florence Pugh. She's amazing.
She's
Her
she's
character, like, unreal from the start to finish. Like, everything that she does in this movie, I think is just carried on her back. Her performance, it's so good. I don't know if
yeah.
she's had a movie as good as this. I don't think she's ever had a character better than this.
No, and it's one of those things where this was, I believe, the first movie I've ever seen her in, and you knew that she was going to be a star after this,
Hmm.
but kind of a disappointing career after this.
I
Like,
agree. She
yeah,
got sucked into that Hollywood, like those just big feature films, and then she got pulled into the Marvel universe and stuff. It's just
y-
like, I don't think that she's gotten the drama that she needs.
no, underutilized because, like, man, she's acting so good, not overacting at any point either, just
Mm-mm.
so stoic.
Yeah.
I love a good stoic actor that has dealt with a lot of trauma and you just see it in their
Yeah.
eyes. And here it's like arguably better. So you texted me something that I was my big takeaway from rewatching this for the first time in a couple of years. A lot of background before they get to Sweden.
Yes.
A lot of
Yes.
background.
There's like, I think I put a note here. It's like 30 minutes of like just, drama leading up to it. And like, I love just seeing, like, there's so much more detail at her house that I remember. Like I don't want to, we're getting into spoilers here.
Oh, yeah. This is like almost an impossible movie not to spoil. If you haven't seen Midsummer yet, I don't know what you're doing. So we're gonna get
Yeah.
into spoilers here. This is, I will say this. This is a horror movie. However, I don't know. I feel like either you love horror or you hate horror. I think it's a very polarizing genre. I
Yeah.
think that I would call this a horror movie, but I also think that anyone with a pulse would like this movie
Hmm.
because it's horror, but it's like it's a cool Swedish cult that is just like it's super trippy,
Yeah,
super fun. So for some reason, if you've the last 6 years you haven't seen Midsummer yet, man, you are missing out. Go watch it.
absolutely.
Anything to add before we
Um,
get into spoilers?
no, I think that yeah, it's there's not a lot of supernatural to it. It's just straight, like good gruesome horror that's just got like keeping you on your toes the entire time. You don't really know what's going on. So yeah,
And
it's a
and the weird
fun
thing
fun
is like
movie.
I still want to kind of experience the cult.
Yeah, no, I know. I would love to just be there and take all the trippy drugs and just have
S-
a time,
Seems
even if I'm
weirdly
a
fun.
sacrifice.
Yeah, seems really fun. All right, we'll get to spoilers here. I will say more drug use that I remember too. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I forgot that they did like psychedelics so often during this movie.
yeah. From the second they got there, and then like even into like the yeah, just literally throughout, like every single like big event that they had, everybody was just tripping balls, which
Yeah.
is really interesting.
And makes you wonder exactly how much of this is
Fever
real and
dreams.
how much
Yeah,
of this is a bad trip.
yeah.
You can interpret it. I choose to believe that this all happened. Like this is
I take
straightforward.
it. This is like the one Ari Aster movie I take at complete face value. I feel like some stuff's like embellished a little bit, but no, I do think that everything that happens in this movie actually happened.
Yeah. Well, when we talk
And
about
there's
Beau Is
nothing,
Afraid, it's like what the hell is real? But yeah,
yeah,
this I take it straightforward. Go on.
yeah. I was just gonna say that that there are other Ari Aster movies, specifically Beau Is Afraid, that you just I could take it. I mean, you don't really know what's real and what's fake because like it's just so crazy all over the board. But this movie, I took it full face value.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say that I'm gonna like contradict a lot of things that I said about Hereditary. I
Hmm.
don't necessarily think that there's some big social commentary in this film. Maybe neglecting mental health, I guess. If you
Yeah.
want to get into it, like the first 30 minutes, kind of like
Hmm.
Hereditary. However, once they get into Sweden, I have a tough time taking a lot of like social commentary from this movie as well. I don't care though. I just
Yeah,
think,
I think he leans a little bit into like ignorance in the world as far as like how Americans just have no concept of culture or other cultures and
yeah,
even
pissing
just
on the
like
tree and
the
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
or like just taking their culture as like their studies basically. So like
they
the
both,
the
yeah,
one guy was Chris, I think his name is. He was like pretty much only there for his thesis, and I do think that um like they end up like I mean obviously there's a lot to learn from the world, and you got to write about cultures if you're an anthropology major or whatever. But I think just the way they went about it in this movie, like they just had like this American attitude, that they're entitled to it. And I think that maybe was like a little bit what he was leaning into.
I agree. I agree.
Hmm.
Yeah, that for sure, for sure, for sure. Jack Renner's character, Christian, probably my one critique of this movie. But here's the thing: a lot of Ari Aster characters are intentionally one note. I feel to get his
Yeah.
point around. Jack Renner, Christian's character, my one critique is that he's probably just too big of a piece of shit. Like no one
Yeah.
would be that big of a piece of shit. Like every
Uh-huh.
single turn this movie takes, he's just a huge piece of shit.
Yeah.
Extremely selfish. But your American take on it is really good, and I think that
He's
helps kind of.
relatable, I think, to like the assholes that most people know though. So I think that like he was a
Yeah,
little
it works.
generic, but I think that he could have been like a little bit more developed,
Yeah.
as a character. Yeah.
I think he's one note, a little underdeveloped, especially for the second character in this movie. However, I do
Yep.
think it works. So it's one of those things where would I have changed it? I don't know. But if you like, I would like literally, I was sitting there thinking, I gotta have something to say that I critique this movie. That is like the one thing I can think of.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. And then
uh,
Will Poulter's character is just almost overly a dick. You know what I mean? Like I get what they're going with him, but I feel like he was like a little bit like forced on you. You know what I mean? As being the asshole of the group.
yeah, and I'm kind of mad how quickly he leaves the story because I found
Yeah,
him to be he's kind of the comedic relief. I kind of liked him being around.
yeah,
Um, and I feel like he just gets taken out a little too early.
yeah. And they don't show his death, right? They just show his face as a
Is
mask, which I thought was crazy.
Is he the guy that's split open in the shed? Right? Isn't that
No, that's Simon.
that's Simon?
That's
Um,
Simon. Because so when I think what's his name? What's the guy who is trying to take pictures of the book? What's his name? Is it Chris or no?
Chris is Jack Renner's character. Mark is
No, it's
Will
Christian. Yeah,
Poulter. Josh is
Josh.
William Harper. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so he gets his head split open while he's
Yeah.
like taking pictures of the book, but the guy who kills him has Will Poulter's face like as a mask on his face.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know how they killed him, but that's he died somehow. That Inga girl took him into the woods and then he never came back.
No, he never came back.
Yeah.
Which
Talking
is
about the guy that is just flayed open though, is he still alive
you
at the
can see
end when
his
Christian goes in there? Because
yeah.
his
So
lungs are moving.
yeah, you see his yeah. So from my interpretation, he's still alive, which is
Okay.
horrifying. Horrifying.
Scariest part of the movie.
Yeah,
Me.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's crazy.
Yeah, you see his yeah. So I think
Yeah.
it is. You see his lung pumping, his lungs inhaling, and you see his heart pumping. So for me, I think I interpret he's still alive, which is crazy. Um,
Yeah.
we both already mentioned way more backstory. The opening scene. So from my the way I remember this movie is that I thought there was that cold opening where like the characters that Florence Pugh's sister kills herself and then kills her to parents by carbon monoxide poisoning, which is like
Yeah.
crazy through a hose and stuff like that. But there's way more there. Also, I forgot about the unread emails and stuff about Florence Pugh trying to stop it.
Yeah.
Really, really good, really, really, really haunting. And once again, those are the horrors that kind of scare me a lot. Like
Real life relatable stuff. Yeah.
real life relatable stuff. We've all kind of been there where like we're worried about somebody and like they're taking a little bit
Hmm.
longer to get back to us, and all of a sudden like your brain goes to the worst possible scenario
Yeah.
type thing. We've all been there, and then to see like the worst scenario possible happening, that's scary, and it's just like
Hmm.
very disturbing. They die of carbon monoxide poisoning, and like their bodies are just like white, sickly, and like
Yeah.
dead. And like Ari Aster never cares about showing things gruesome up close. Like you see, like, it's just that is very
I
haunting.
I didn't remember the hose just duct taped to the sister's face. That to me was terrifying. And just like you could tell she was like puking through the duct tape and it was just all over her. And like that, I think that is one of the craziest scenes. And it's just like that's all you see at the beginning of the movie is like those horrific things. And it's crazy.
Is she schizophrenic?
I think she said she's bipolar.
Bipolar. She is bipolar.
Yeah.
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 And so she was very, very worried about her.
Yeah. It sounds like she does it a lot. So yeah.
yes. And so Jack Renner's character being well, I thought early on, like honestly, if I was Jack Renner's character, I probably would have said a lot of the same things. Maybe I'm a d-bag.
No
Where
kidding. Yeah, no.
he was like, she does this all the time, and you can kind of like relate to him where you're like, okay, like she has this
Yeah.
sister who's bipolar who probably acts out all the time, and like she's still
Hmm.
living, her parents are still living, so obviously nothing really happens. But Florence Pugh is very, very distraught about it. So Jack Renner's character honestly like doesn't really care much about the situation, and
Hmm.
he wants to go to a no, he doesn't go to the party yet, but he wants to kind of get the
It sounds
thing.
like he's on the fence, of the relationship. That's like kind of what I read from that scene where he's with his friends. Like they're all like, "Oh my God, why do you put up with this?" And like I kind of had respect with him at that point because I feel like he was pretty good about still like, you know, I don't know, nurturing her a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he still took the call. He didn't ignore her.
No, I agree.
I feel it kind of just got worse for him throughout the movie. But that scene, I thought he kind of handled it like a normal person would, but maybe I'm an asshole perceiving it that way.
No, I agree with you. I think up until Sweden, he's acting like a normal guy would in that
Yeah.
situation. And then
Hmm.
then the death happens, and then he's like, they have this guy's trip to Sweden. He's like, I can't leave her. Like, do you
Yeah.
want to come with us? And all the guys are like, we don't want her to come. But he's just like,
Yeah.
I can't just leave her here. So
Seriously.
he's kind of a good boyfriend. He's
Ish.
relatable.
Yeah, he is. He is. And I do think that that's like his place in this is that he's a relatable dude.
Yeah, yeah. And so one of the most disturbing scenes, it's up there with the Hereditary scene, and not even just like Ari Aster movies, like in film history for me, is the when you realize that the cult's up to no good. and they sacrifice two of their elders.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Um, they both get pushed off of a
Well,
huge
they
cliff.
freely jump, I
They
guess,
freely
right?
jump. You're right. They freely jump. They
Yeah.
freely sacrifice themselves, and
This this is
and
probably a good time to like mention. I feel like Ari Aster is like the headshot king, like the head death king. Every movie he has something to do with death, and it's all head related, and he's so good at it.
there's decapitate. That's a theme that I realized. There's
Yeah,
decapitation in all his movies. He loves
yeah,
decapitating characters and
yeah,
then showing
absolutely.
it, and then
Yeah.
showing it. Um, up and so the thing with Ari Aster movies is like that he's going to like a lot of directors here, they would show a lot of this stuff off screen, right? You would just maybe
Hmm.
see the character jump off a cliff and then it would cut and then you would maybe go to the characters and see their reaction. Dude, you see their legs snapping. Then he goes a close up of them like dying gruesomely and then getting their
Yeah.
heads smashed in. Like he
He
shows
yeah,
everything. There's nothing off screen.
he like quadruple downs on it in this movie. They show the one lady just smash her face on the rock, and then the other guy just gets his head bashed in by three people in a row, and it's just like close up shots too. It's no letting up. Not to mention throughout the movie, he like cuts back to those scenes of head smashed in. So it's just like he just loves it,
Yeah, it's so
and
good.
I think that's the shock factor. It sticks with people, and like that's what makes Ari Aster good.
Yeah, because you just go in there knowing you're going to see some crazy, crazy, crazy stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I think they built this set in Sweden. They built everything, all the costumes, all the tapestries. There's a lot there in the background and in the
Hmm.
foreground in this movie. So much that it had been so long since I've seen this movie that I really was just like, there's so much going on in this movie that I honestly wasn't paying attention to those things. Like, I'm
Yeah,
sure I could take a lot from those things, but it had been so long that I kind of was just so infatuated again with like the plot and the characters
yeah.
and stuff that I just like I didn't really necessarily like they foreshadowed the bear scene obviously, but like other than that, like I did a poor job of like picking up anything in the foreground or background because I think a lot of
Yeah.
it is foreshadowed. Did you pick up anything there?
I mean, in the very first scene, like there's bear art in her room. Like
Yeah.
so like the foreshadowing of the bear is from all the way back at like the very beginning of the movie. Um
Like before they get
but
to
I just
Sweden?
think that yeah, like in I think it's in her bedroom, she's like sleeping when he comes in talking about going to the party, there's a bear, huge
Oh,
bear painting on her wall. And
yeah.
I noticed it right away. I'm like, okay, so that like completely ties in. But I just yeah, again, like the architecture and like the buildings and stuff like that. There's just so much detail there that I just missed the first time. And then like later in the movie, how like trippy some of the scenes are. Like after she's May Queen and she's like sitting at the table, like everything is just like fading in and out of like just trippiness. Everything's getting distorted. It's like a full on trip, and I don't remember those details.
No, there do I like I don't either and like she keeps turning back to like a plant. Like her
Yeah,
hands turn into roots and stuff.
yeah, the grass and stuff that's coming out of her hands. Yeah, it's so
And
cool.
and yeah, like she becomes the May Queen. I'm having a tough time taking interpretation from that. Um,
Yeah,
um something to do with like I don't got a whole lot there. But I do
I think
think
that
that
just like that moment gave her like more to live for than like anything she'd been through since her like family had died. I just think that like
she
she was
finds her
starting to
purpose.
like
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, and I think that Pele saw that in her, like taking her there. He knew that she wasn't going to be someone who died, and I think he like really made sure that the community was like looking out for her. So, yeah, I thought that was just like cool to see how she developed like in that community. She was definitely indifferent about it throughout it, but then at the end, it's just like complete like switch for her.
Yeah, and she's blonde hair, blue eyes, which we learned
Yeah,
is a big thing to the cult. I
for
do love
sure.
how I love how fleshed out the cult is though. Like I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of like how their society works.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
like they bring in these people, they bring in new people to help, you know, help, expand their gene pool.
Yep.
And so like this is what they do. And so
Yeah.
Jack Renner and Florence Pugh are both blonde hair, blue eyes people, and everyone else is, Swedish there. So they have some ancestry to that Aryan. type background, and so they
Mhm.
are chosen to basically help. Florence Pugh gets adopted to the cult. Jack Renner, they pretty much just want him to
Breed,
impregnate,
get
yeah,
out.
in one
Yeah.
of them. And then the big scene is the May Queen dance. Um,
Hmm.
which I'm now interpreting that they intentionally let her win, right? Is that how we're supposed to interpret that? Because this viewing,
I
I took it as they intentionally let her win.
I could see that for sure because some of those scenes of like the woman falling were so dramatic. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I bumped into someone, I'm out. But it does
Intentionally
seem like,
bad. Yeah,
yeah,
intentionally bad for an Ari Aster movie. Like that's intentional.
yeah.
Like
So I do think that maybe she had like some additional drive that kept her going. But at the same time, how hard is it to just like dance around for
on,
so long and
on
not fall over?
shrooms.
So
Yeah, like
yeah, exactly. So I do think that there's some aspect to it where they kind of let her win, to make her have some sort of sense of community to stick around with them afterwards and make the decisions she has to make at the end.
and then the one of the most iconic shots in movies in the last 10 years, the ending here
Oh
when
my God.
well, before we get into it, the disability child,
Oh,
the of inbreeding, I love
great
that.
character.
I love that. Yeah.
Incredible character. Yeah.
Incredible character, and how he's like the gifted one. He like writes stuff down, and then
Yeah.
they're like, do you just find someone with mental disabilities? They're like, no, we intentionally do it.
We make those. Yeah. We do that on purpose. But
Uh,
yeah, I think that that's just so impressive. And like, I remember being like a bigger part of the plot. Like, I remember seeing that character more, but there's only a couple scenes where they really show him.
I agree. I think it just stuck with me, but I
Yeah.
agree. Like he's not
Yeah.
really in the movie much, but super interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
I think
Like every like the cult's really flushed out. It's not one of those
it
things where it's
is.
like, oh, it's this cool cult. It's like he went really deep with it, which I love.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's so impressive to build something like that into a movie where like there's not a lot of I mean, you could poke holes in anything, but there's not a lot to like poke holes in. Everything seems like really, really legit, you know? And like I could totally convince myself that that place is out there, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Like
Yeah.
this feels real, and like there's even to the point where like there's some like artistic shots, and like she's turning into like a plant, but it's like, well, she's on shrooms. I assume it's
Yeah.
shrooms. So it's like, dude, like she's just tripping balls. Like it's like this feels very real, very real.
Couldn't
And it's
agree
like
more.
some like a remote part of Sweden. Like there's cults out there. Like
There
this
are,
feels
certainly.
and we haven't talked about it yet, but the fact that he like Hereditary is so dark and like literally like there's a
And this is like
filter.
the polar opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a filter that just makes the whole thing dark, the whole entire movie.
Hmm.
Like I don't know if there's one shot with sunshine. Even the outdoor scenes are like dark. The fact that
Yeah.
he's just like, I'm gonna make this the brightest movie of all time. Like it doesn't get dark there. They talk about that. Like it's midnight at one scene and they're like, it's sunny out there. Like
Hmm.
the fact that he made a horror movie, because obviously the classic trope of horror movies is like darkness. He
Yeah.
makes it
Dark and
in,
jump scares. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. This is bright as hell. Beautiful people, bright as hell, and yet horrifying.
Yeah.
So
It
cool.
knocks it out of the park. Does so
That
well with the movie.
knocks out of the park. One of the most disturbing scenes for me is the sex scene. It's probably the weirdest sex scene in movie history. Um,
Absolutely.
I love the lead up to it. The Jack Renner's character eating the pube in
Hmm.
his, I don't know, his chicken pot pie,
Is
something like
mince
that.
pie. Yeah.
His yeah, and man,
And the blood in his glass. Remember, did you
oh
notice that? I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I think I noticed that the first time, but yeah,
I noticed that the first time too. I love how it's not talked about, but we assume it's probably period blood,
yeah, exactly.
which is
It's
the funny
great,
thing is
great
that's
touch.
like, yeah, that's like the 17th most disturbing thing in this movie.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, not even number one, but it could be if any other movie.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, the sex scene, he gets really drugged for it, which once
Hmm.
again, I didn't realize that like all of these scenes have to do with like people getting heavily drugged, but he's heavily drugged
Yep.
for it. Um, and then they start having sex. It kind of starts off sort of normal, but there's like 20 women around him when it's happening.
I didn't
And
remember
then
that part.
I And then they all start moaning in syncrasy with the woman who's having sex with Jack Renner, and it's just Jack Renner's then like disturbed.
Yeah.
Um, it's just like, and it goes on forever. It's
Well,
just, it's
yeah.
long, it's weird. Um, and Florence Pugh's character sees it, and that's kind of the turning point in their relationship, I
Hmm.
guess. And yeah,
How about
it's
the one woman just grabbing his cheeks and just pushing him in more and like
forgot about, yeah,
that
that should
that
be,
probably is like the most disturbing part. Just the she's just getting involved, you know.
yeah. They start
I
touching
do think
him.
I do think that the parallels between like them screaming in unison with her, like her pain, Florence Pugh's character, and then like them grunting in like the same moaning pattern. I thought that those parallels were like pretty cool. Like that was happening at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was super sick. Yeah, yeah. So Florence Pugh, yeah, when she runs over there and they all start, yeah, she starts sobbing and they start sobbing together. Very, very, very cool. Cuts back and forth. Yeah, it's just sick. And then it just sets up perfectly well to the final scene, which is probably one of the most iconic shots of the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
Him dressed up as a bear and being essentially set on fire.
Yeah.
Super cool. I might be missing something. Was there anyone else notable that was in the house with him when it gets burned down, or are those just dummies?
I think what they did is I think they skinned everyone and then they put like their skin on like, cause they're like lugging around like they're like
Yeah,
sacks
they're
of
like
hay, you know what I
dolls.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and then there's like the two guys that are in there alive and supposedly give them some sort of like drug or medication to make them not feel any pain, and then they're still like screaming in absolute horror when they burn.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then there's the two people that also died. Those weren't the sacrifices, were they? Or were those like two other people that just volunteered to die? Because there's like the two that have like the fruit like stuffed in them and stuff. And I
I
can't tell if those are the ones that jumped off the cliff or not because they have faces.
yeah, no. So yeah, they're not because right because they still have faces. That was the part that I was a little confused, where I
Me
felt
too.
like I missed something.
Yeah.
Because the way that it was shot, it felt like those people were somewhat significant, not just like
Hmm.
filler. But I couldn't. I
I
was
don't
confused
remember
by
what it
that.
was from. Yeah.
I couldn't put anything to that.
And I think that
Um,
was like a little confusing when like they are announcing all of like the sacrifice shit at the end. It just gets a little muddy for me trying to like piece everyone together, you know?
it does, and
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if I was doing a poor job of like following minor details or what happened there.
No,
But
I
yeah,
relate.
I felt like I missed something. But I
Hmm.
don't know. At the end of the day, though, the bear costume you dressed as the bear, right?
Yeah,
In
I
your
dressed up as a
Midsummer.
bear. Yeah, and then Lauren had like her like white dress with like the flower head on. So yeah, just doing it's not a great couple's costume if you think about it, because you know, there's a couple that doesn't really end up together.
I think
But
it's a
it is
great
cool.
couple
It is
costume.
cool.
I think it's a
Yeah.
great couple. We'll post it with this podcast because
Sounds good. Yeah.
I love that. I want to wear a flower crown for this movie. I might just go as a Midsummer cult member next Halloween.
Honestly, it's a hard thing like not to do. Like it's easy to do, you know. You just get like a garb that has that vibe and it's a very easy thing to sell.
Yeah, I know. And it's just I love this movie. This movie's
Yeah,
so cool.
it
Like
is.
like I was as I watched this movie and I was reflecting on it, I think this is like a top 20 movie all time for me. I love
I
this movie.
couldn't agree more. I would maybe put it top 10 just because I love watching it.
I
It's so
may.
fun.
Yeah. And I'm kind of confused why I haven't seen this movie since theaters. Like I love this movie. This
I'm
movie's
the
so
same
good.
way. And it was on streaming services for like the longest time. And I
Hmm.
just didn't give it the full chance. Like
No.
I was like, I looked at it and I'm like, I fucking love that movie, but I've seen it. And like there's
Yeah.
just so many other things I need to watch. But now from now on, if I see that on streaming services, I'm putting it on because it's so enjoyable to watch.
Weird to say, it's almost a good background movie.
It is, dude. I could just have that on the side and just watch it. It's comfort. It's
Yeah,
comfort film
it is
in the
comfort.
weirdest way.
Um, also, this movie's longer than I thought, which is probably a compliment. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know, I forgot it was 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's a longer one for sure, but definitely not the longest Ari Aster film.
No, and that's probably a good segue. Do you have
Yeah,
anything else to add to this movie?
I don't. I think I got everything out here that I was going on. So yeah, no, I think we did a good job with Midsummer there.
Wonderful. And yeah, the segue is, man. But we're going to talk about Beau Is Afraid. This is the first time I viewed Beau Is Afraid. I missed it
Hmm.
in theaters when it came out a couple years ago,
Me too.
and man, it being 3 hours long. When I went to go start it at 9 o'clock at night, thinking I could knock out this movie before I go to bed,
Yeah,
when I
no
saw it
chance.
was 3 hours, I was so sad. I was like, no, why is it 3 hours?
It took me all week to watch it during my lunch breaks. Like when I was sitting down eating lunch at home, I was like trying to watch this movie. It took me all week to watch it. And I still like went into the start of the weekend trying to finish this movie. Not
Yeah,
that it was like hard to watch. It was just it took me so long.
oh, it does. I think it's probably almost better to break up because
It
I watch
is.
this in three different segments.
Hmm.
I watched this for about an hour and a half before I went to bed. I watched it during my lunch break for 30 minutes. And then I watched it for 20 minutes right when I got to San Francisco. Like that evening, I had to finish it before I went to bed and I was about to lose the 48-hour time window. So it took me
Yeah.
three different instances to watch it. Um, and by now, Ari Aster intended it to be, but it kind of works in that way because
It does, yeah. It does kind of like segment up a bit, and like there's definitely sections of it that are just completely different than the rest of the movie. And I think that like the way you did it probably worked out pretty well.
yeah, and this movie's kind of a slog. I like it, but man, it's kind of a slog. Like, I think there's a great 2 hour movie in here.
Hmm.
I also think that there's a million things to chew on, and I wish I've seen it multiple times because one viewing is not enough for this movie.
I
I
know.
just wish
Yep.
yeah, I just wish it wasn't 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be 3 hours long. I'm cool with this movie. I like this movie a lot. It's kind of polarizing based on reviews, but I think it works in a lot of ways. But I just wish it wasn't 3 hours long. There's a lot of fat here. There's a lot of fat.
I agree. And it really does feel like, I don't know, five or six shorts combined into one movie. And I
Yeah.
think that that's like the best way to describe it. And I almost kind of wish it was like a mini series instead. I don't know. I feel like that would be a better way to like tell that story because it gets confusing to me, like all put together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we'll get into spoiler. Did you like it? We'll get into spoilers here. Did you like it?
I did. My takeaway is that I really liked it. I think that the character of Bo is like amazing. I think that I like the flashbacks to see him as a kid. I think it like explains a lot. Um, I do think that it gets a little confusing and like a lot of like the YouTube videos I watched after it, like there's so many different interpretations and like most of what I've seen is to like try to take it at face value and just like I don't know, take it as like Bo embellishing on a lot of stuff. But there's some parts that just like really get confusing for me and like hard for me to like take away anything from.
Yeah. The middle part of no, not the middle part, like the second, I don't know, like the
The
from 20
animated
minutes to
part,
yeah, I mean the animated part I'm just like whatever. Like I just roll with it.
yeah.
The when he loses the keys until he gets to Nathan Lane's house, the
I like
surgeon's house.
the oh okay, yeah. That
All
I
of
just
that is just like I don't know what to take from that. I don't know
when
what.
he
We'll get into spoilers now, but
okay,
we both enjoyed it. I think there's a lot to
yeah.
unfold though.
So that part where he is I call it like the get out part. I feel like it's got that feeling of the movie Get Out, where he's just like kind of feels like a prisoner in that house. And I think that part seemed like the most real to me. I think that at that point he was like off his meds. I think that the meds that they were giving him were kind of sending him into more paranoia than like normal Bo would have been in. Um, we're really getting into spoilers, but I feel like at the end you kind of understand that his mom is more controlling on his life than like you really think from the beginning. And I really think that who Bo is like you don't really get into the reality of him until he gets like off his meds, which I think is what happens kind of in the mid section of the movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're in spoilers now because there's
Like
a
where do you
huge
begin
plot.
with this movie? Like
I
it's
don't
hard to
know.
like
I
pick a
don't
spot.
know. I don't know. There's a
How about we
massive,
start with
massive.
Bo the short, which ties in with the
Yeah,
beginning of the movie. That's probably
you're
a good
right.
place to start.
We probably before spoilers, we probably should have talked about that. The key scene where he loses the keys which makes sense that that was the
Yeah.
short that they choose. That was kind of
Hmm.
a proof of concept short. This was meant to be Ari Aster's directorial debut, but he couldn't get it made, which makes sense.
Hmm.
Um,
How
you
hard
you
to sell.
need you have to be an established director in order to make this movie. Um, the short is the key scene. And it made sense when I saw like, oh, this is what the short's going to be. I like the key scene a lot. I think, I think what I like about, and I think my interpretation of this is a guy with a terrible anxiety, just really bad
Hmm.
anxiety. But yet his worst fear happens.
Hmm.
What he's anxious about, it all comes true time and time again. So he
Yeah.
gets his keys robbed, and just like, man, Ari Aster has a quote, you know, like the X-rays that come on Amazon that
Hmm.
pop up when you're watching
Yep.
it. He
Yeah.
says,
Yeah.
I want to take people into the world of the world's biggest loser,"
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
true. Like
Yeah.
this guy just is a loser. Everything bad happens to him. The short Beau isn't very good.
No,
It's,
it's not.
but it, no, it's not. Like it's really poorly
Shot on
acted.
iPhone vibes. Like,
Yeah, shot
yeah,
on iPhone, poorly acted. Like I had no interest. Like I saw Beau Is Afraid before this, but I would have no interest
same.
in seeing that be a 3 hour movie. Like
I
I
agree.
don't see how that's a 3 hour movie.
If I didn't see Beau Is Afraid, I would have thought like this is the worst short I've ever seen. But the fact that I saw Beau Is Afraid before that, like when the guy's walking down the hallway and he says, "You're so fucked, pal," I knew that that line was coming just because of Beau Is Afraid. And I
Yeah,
think that like he did a good job. I feel like I have like a lot of like I feel like I'm tied to that short now because I've seen Beau Is Afraid, and I feel like the short is so much better because of the movie now, which is
yeah,
kind of like the reverse of what he was probably trying to do initially.
yeah,
But I do have more respect for the short now that I've seen the movie,
yeah, for
and
sure.
I think that's like the thing I can take away from that.
Yeah. Um, man, where to begin with this movie? I think we should begin with the ending because the ending makes me think of the beginning completely different than I did at first.
Agreed. Yeah,
Yeah, the mother. So like, I do like how you just think that Beau, you don't know what's real, what's not. You think Beau is just like,
a mentally ill
just in,
guy, you know, that's
yeah,
just
mentally
like
ill.
trying to get on by himself. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I did a rotation at a psych hospital, which was so awesome, so awesome, such an interesting experience. But when you go on rounds with those patients, they tell the craziest stories, the wildest
Hmm.
stories that are never true. Like
Yeah.
this one guy, it was in Nashville that I was doing my psych rotation. This one guy, he demanded that he wrote songs, these like famous songs, right? And so that was like his thing where he was like, "Oh, you know that song? I wrote that song." So like they say these outlandish things that can't possibly be true. And so Beau, classically, he's doing that. Like
Hmm.
he thinks that he thinks his mom's controlling. He thinks that he's just like all these crazy things, all these crazy things. And and so the whole entire time you are thinking that his point of view is just wrong. He's just
Yeah.
insane. But then at the end, at the plot twist, his mom is not actually dead. The chandelier did not actually kill her.
Hmm.
That she's just all controlling, and she's basically ruined Beau's life. And I thought that all of a sudden it's hard because there's about 2.5 hours worth of movies and about
Yeah.
40 hours of my life that I'm trying to go back to and try to
Exactly.
revisit that first part of the movie. This is why I think this movie actually needs two viewings. Like it's actually probably a necessity. But man, it's a lot of movie. To
And I
where you're
think
like,
that I was just gonna say, like, yeah, you at the end of the movie, you get that full sense of what is maybe happening in the beginning. And I thought like a really interesting thing is that like she literally owns a security company, and then they show those views of Beau, like up
yep,
above, like in his apartment, and you just wonder how much of what happened from the start is like his mom's like manipulativeness. You know what I mean?
yeah, and to the point where his psychiatrist is paid by his mom,
Like just a complete front.
just a complete front. And like to what extent, like he's the one that's prescribing meds to him. So what like to what extent is he just being drugged? Like
Exactly.
I don't know. Like man,
Yeah.
it makes you. I mean, Beau is this really tragic figure. Actually, when it's all said and
Hmm.
done, he's this ultimate tragic figure. And it's just like It's really sad.
It is.
My interpretation is this is all about mental health and just
Hmm.
kind of like I think he does a really good job of just like taking things to the ultimate extreme. I think it's just a guy with horrible, horrible, horrible anxiety. But it's like, imagine if you had really bad anxiety and all your worst fears were coming true every single second of every single day.
Hmm.
It's weird, man. It's fascinating. There's so much to chew on here. I think you got to be a big Ari Aster fan to enjoy it. I am, and man, I since this movie ended, I keep thinking about it,
I know.
and I don't even know exactly my. It's not totally fleshed out what I even how I even interpret this movie.
Yeah. So I don't know. You probably watched. Did you watch C'est la Vie after this movie or
Hmm.
before? Okay.
After,
Did you make the connection to Beau Is Afraid to C'est la Vie?
um,
The homeless guy that's in C'est la Vie is Birthday Boy, the stabbing guy.
holy
There's that
shit,
scene where he's saying
yeah,
"fuck you, fuck you, fuck you," and he's like stabbing.
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
exact same scene as him being naked in the street, like doing that to Beau. So
yeah,
he is literally Birthday Boy,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
crazy. And I made the connection afterwards when I was watching C'est la Vie. It's the same actor. So
yeah.
it's the
You're
same
right.
character. Yeah.
Damn.
Which was like super cool.
And the silent horror movie that you talked about, like the drugging thing was it
Yeah.
kind of ties back to this too. You're right. A lot of these essentially, I mean, it makes sense. It was the first screenplay he made. It was almost like a lot of his shorts are basically Beau Is
Yeah,
Afraid.
it is. And like there's another connection too. In that 2 minute one that's like the infomercial about the TDF, the dick farts. At the very end of this, there's like an ad at the end of it for Erectus Ejectus. And I'm like, okay, I know what that is, and I don't know why. And I looked it up. I guess above Beau's apartment is above like this peep show, like it's like a place where you go watch porn basically. And the place was called Erectus Ejectus, and that is like literally an ad from like this random short from 2011. So like there's like it's like Beau Is Afraid is everything that Ari Aster like built his career on and just put into one feature film, which I think makes it even like cooler. So like that's something
Yeah.
that I want to go back and watch the movie again to see if there's any other connections that I just like happen to miss.
That is really cool. I kind of wish I would have dug more into the lore of Beau Is Afraid. I've
Hmm.
been watching more interviews with him talking about Eddington than Beau Is Afraid, just because obviously this is an Eddington
Hmm.
pod. But man,
Yeah.
there's just so much here with Beau Is Afraid. Um, what's real and what's not though? Like so the early on, like I think is mostly real. Once the
Just
neighbor
embellished. Yeah.
once like the neighbor starts yelling at him and like the stabbing in the street and all that chaos, I assume that's not real.
I think he
Uh,
lives in like a not so great part of town, but I think that his paranoia and like his like anxiety just like amps it up a lot. And then I think the notes and the key stealing and the bag stealing, I think was all his mom. I think that she kind of orchestrated all of it to
yeah,
like make
yeah.
him even more anxious about coming home. So I think that she was just really trying to like mentally abuse him essentially and make him like obviously she couldn't orchestrate him getting stabbed. Like I don't even know if that's real, but like I do think that she was trying to like orchestrate a lot of it because she obviously had cameras on him. She knew what was going on. So like she knew that what he was saying wasn't delusions, but yeah, it's just like there's a lot of interpretation out there that like you could take this movie any way.
You can like this. I love these movies. These movies that man, they give you a million things to chew on.
Oh yeah.
Like, I, yeah, like I'm still wondering what Nathan Lane's character, the surgeon character, like, or his motives.
I don't know, because like, what about Jeeves? Was he just there to like? Were they doing to him? Were they doing to Jeeves what they want to do with him, or like they're trying to make another son, basically? Like, I feel like
Yeah,
they're trying to like trap him into this life of him being like their son, but I don't know. And then like there was a scene where what's her name, the wife? She like basically said, "Don't incriminate yourself." So I didn't know what that meant. So I'm guessing
yeah,
that like his mom had cameras in that house because remember he was like fast forwarding through the end of the
yeah,
movie on the TV.
yeah.
Like that camera had to be connected to his mom's like security thing somehow.
for the record, I love the fast forwarding stuff.
Me
I
too.
loved it. That was so
And
cool. That
I
was
I did
sick.
like I did like pause to see like what it was, just to kind of see what was coming up, and it's all very accurate for like the end of the movie, basically. Like it
Yeah,
does
because
show
it's
you like the next scenes for sure.
yeah, because it's him at the funeral of his mom, right? Him like I love
Sitting
that
on the
scene
edge, yeah,
where he's sitting on the edge and the bodies are right
legs
there, and then it's
dangling,
him
so
paddling
good.
the boat, right?
Yeah,
Which are like
and
those are the two perfect scenes. Those are the ones that stick out to me. Those are the two perfect scenes though
yeah,
to incorporate because those are huge points.
yeah, and like I did stop it and like pause it and like try to look at them just to see what was coming up, and like I even forgot about those scenes towards the end. But then I went back and watched it again at the end, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it does really show you through the end of the movie for the most part. But yeah, I think that that was just like such a weird like intermission for him to be like in this house with that Jeeves character, and then the daughter. How about the daughter with drinking the
The
paint?
drinking the
And
paint. I
goodness
mean that
gracious,
you know Ari Aster's a sicko when that drinking the paint scene. Because
yeah,
I had just been binge watching Ari Aster stuff. I was like, she's drinking paint, whatever.
yeah, yeah. No, it seems completely normal. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, horrifying scene.
yeah,
A sick death.
yeah,
And I take that as real.
yeah.
I take that all that stuff as
Me too.
real,
Yeah.
and a really sad like that like she was yeah, she's a really sad character because she's
She was.
that's
I
it.
feel like she was like a little embellished on because she was like literally drinking pills out of a bottle at one point. So like
Yeah,
maybe she wasn't doing drugs that hard, but like I don't know. I did take that like as her just being the daughter that they didn't care about after their son died, basically, and them trying to bring their son back. And it
yeah,
was a
and
sad character. Yeah.
she does it in her brother's room. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, yeah, she's super sad. Um, I do think that scene went on. I do think the him being at that house, it probably lasts about 40 minutes. I think that's too long.
Yeah, I agree, and I that's why I said it. It feels like its own short. You know what I mean?
It
Like that
does,
seems like
100%.
a different movie
It
completely,
does.
and
It
that's
does.
where I thought the movie was gonna stay
Yeah.
through the duration of the end of it. But then
And
it switched up completely.
I thought Nathan Lane character, the surgeon's character, was going to come back in it anyway. Like, I don't really
Yeah.
know how it ties back to the mom. I'm not
Yeah.
positive.
I'm not totally sure how I really don't understand. I feel like that mom was like trying to send different like I don't know, she was like trying to send a message to Beau. Like it there was like a disconnect between the husband and wife there, and I just didn't understand. It never really like got explained at the end.
Yeah, and so stop incriminating. Maybe I just got a different interpretation of it. I thought it was stop incriminating with the surgeon, but maybe she's aware that his mom's watching.
Yeah, that's kind of
So
what I was thinking. Yeah.
stop incriminating, and then like ultimately incriminates himself by having sex with the girl in his mom's bed.
Yeah.
Um,
Just insane. That
yeah. So before we jump into that, I read a
that's
little bit
got to be
about
one of the best deaths though of any
God.
Ari Aster movie. That intense.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
But before we jump into that, I do think there was a really good interpretation of this movie that I had to read about because I was so confused about this movie. I got the anxiety thing. I thought this was just like I got the like this is a person with terrible anxiety type thing. What I love, and Ari Aster is really good at this. He takes like a classic movie and turns it on his head. Midsummer, taking the classic horror trope of being
Hmm.
darkness and making completely light. So he takes the classic trope of like of this big adventure movie, right? And which
Yeah.
is why I think this movie is 3 hours long.
Hmm.
So think of Lord of the Rings, right? Epic adventure movie. This is also an epic adventure movie,
It
right? He's
is.
stumbling
Yeah.
upon to different characters, different things, and like kind of these like one-off characters that like like help lead him along the way, but don't really tie back into the end of the movie and all this stuff. And he's constantly meeting these new people and going on this epic adventure to get somewhere. This is what this movie is, but it's done in the most like pathetic way possible because Beau
Uh-huh.
is just a loser at the end of the day. That is I think that's what Ari Aster is trying to do. I think that's super, super, super sick.
Uh-huh.
And it makes it better that the movie's 3 hours long when you think about it that way. I don't think this movie still need to be 3 hours long. That's my biggest
Yeah.
gripe with this movie. But
I agree.
I think that when you take it that way, I think this movie works a lot better.
Hmm. I don't know how we've gotten this far into talking about Beau Is Afraid without talking about his huge fucking balls.
Yeah.
There's like so many scenes, like him getting into the bathtub, all you see is like this huge sack. And then
Yeah.
like he gets hit by the bus and you see it again. And like I didn't like I thought I was crazy until the doctor mentions his descended testicles. And is that just because his mom told him he couldn't nut his whole life? Is that why?
Wow. I didn't even bother trying to interpret that. I thought it was just kind of a throwaway line. You're right. It has to be right. It
Has to
has to.
be.
He probably hasn't ejaculated in a single time in his life.
Because he thought he was gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Which
that's how he said it. She said his dad died.
Yeah, which I love the way that that's told because you're
Yeah,
not really sure if that's like real or if that's him like hallucinating
yeah,
the whole play thing. But then it ends up being like the core plot to this movie is that his mom essentially lied to him that
yeah.
his father passed away the night of their wedding by having intercourse with him.
Hmm.
And that he had a heart murmur and then his heart gives out. And
Yeah,
so his whole entire life, he's scared of having sex. Yeah. Just psychological to the umpth degree.
yeah.
Um, and the flashbacks to the him as young Beau, I really, really, really enjoyed. That's
Hmm.
kind of where the movie got me back. Because like
Yeah,
man, the Nathan Lane scenes, as entertaining as they were, because they were entertaining, I was just like, how is this tie into anything? And I'm
yeah. I
still
agree.
kind of
Yeah,
like, how is this tying into anything? Finally, when young Beau came back, I was like, all right, here we go. Let's get this thing going here. And I loved those scenes. And I think it started all of a sudden the puzzle started coming together
yeah.
as those scenes were happening.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. And like, I don't know where we're jumping to next, but like, just my next note after Bo's huge balls is the huge penis monster in the attic.
Yeah.
What was that? That was his dad. That's what she said.
I kind of forgot about that, but you're right. And she was like, you
And
don't know what I had to go through for you to be bored or something.
yeah, and then Jeeves ends up killing the big dick monster at the end.
Yeah, man.
That
I
there's
don't.
just like a lot of random shit that happens in that movie that just it how can you ever piece together what's real? I mean, my
I
assumption is that there's not a huge cock monster in her attic, but I could be completely wrong. This is Ari Aster.
Man, I don't have a good explanation for the cock monster.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with that. That stumps me. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I
There was
mean,
also like chained up Bo in the attic that was like had a
yeah,
beard. I didn't like when I first saw it, I was like, does he have a twin that was locked up there? Because she said it was like you mixed up dreams with reality or something like that,
yeah, because she was
or with the
like,
memory.
he was like, I thought I couldn't go up there, or this is just like my dream, and she was like, it was a
You stupid
flashback
boy.
or
Yeah.
something.
So
Yeah,
that's
I'm
where
not.
like I'm still like on the fence of knowing exactly what is going on in this movie.
Yeah, I have no interpretation of that, to be
I
honest.
think I won't have a better interpretation until I watch this a second or third time. Just to, but do I have 3 hours to get through? If
I
this is another movie, maybe just put on the side and just listen to it and try to figure out.
Yeah, like I'm not sure if I'll ever watch this movie again. I want to. I don't,
Me
but
too.
it's a slog. And
It does. It
this
sounds
is
like a
one of the,
chore.
yeah, and this is one of those movies that's like if I'm going to rewatch it again, I need to be locked in. You almost need
Running
to
out
take
of time.
notes. And it's yeah.
No, yeah, I try to take notes on this, but it's just one of those things that I'm just not too sure on. There's good gore, there's good killings, just randomly
the-
in the middle in that scene with Jeeves. Um,
yeah.
but it's hard to really connect this with other Ari Aster movies. I feel like I do feel like this is like his passion project, the one
Yeah.
thing that like he really like has been dying to make, and I think maybe he got like a little overzealous with like the amount of detail they included with it.
Yeah, it's like it's the classic thing and they gave him too much rope and he choked himself with it, right?
Yeah,
I understand why this movie has 65% Rotten Tomatoes. This movie's not for everybody. This movie doesn't work on a lot of different levels. It works on some levels, but like, it's just, it's weird, man. It's
I
not
didn't
for every.
hate it. I enjoyed it. I just it's something that you could talk about forever and like never come to an agreement on what's reality in this movie, which I think is like pretty cool.
It is
It's one
cool.
of those
It is
movies that
cool.
like that's why I enjoy Ari Aster films and just like movies that are like have a lot of interpretations in general. Like it's just leaves you thinking.
Yeah, and um, I'm glad that, I'm glad that I, I'm sorry. I got sidetracked here because I got the Wikipedia page up on me, and Astor described this film in many ways, including initially as a nightmare comedy and a Jewish Lord of the Rings, but Bo's going to his mom's house, and it's like if you pumped a 10-year-old full of Zoloft,
I
which
mean, he
that
kind
kind
of
of
knocked it
sums
out
it
of the park
up.
with it. Yeah,
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 that kind of sums up. It really is like a Lord of the Rings type movie, adventure type movie.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, dude,
I I think that my advice with anyone who goes to see this movie would just be like not to take it too seriously and just take it for what it is, and then think about it after. Because I think that
we
with me watching it the way I did, and trying to prep for this, like I was almost a little over analytical, like from the start. And I think if I would have just taken it for what it is, saw it in theaters, I probably would have just like digested it a little bit better the first time.
Yeah, you kind of just have to have fun with it.
Hmm.
There is one thing we need to talk about, the sex scene.
Yep.
The I first I love Mariah Carey, "Always Be My Baby." I'm so glad that was the soundtrack to this song,
She
to
restarted
that.
it too. Like she had to get it
She
from the start.
restarted.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, how does she die? I'm confused. Is she just a
I
doll? Is she
I
just all?
don't I don't know. Like that's I'm wondering if his mom had something to do with her being some sort of like weird animatronic sex doll because like she seemed glitched out and then two people came in and took her away like they knew that they were gonna have to do that.
Yeah,
So it's
and she
like,
was like frozen.
yeah. So it's like exactly his fears of what he thought was gonna happen to him, but happened to her. And
Yeah,
I don't totally understand. Like his mom knew it was gonna happen, I think, because like she just came out at the perfect time
yeah.
after that. But
It was the final temptation of Beau. It was this like long lost woman that he's had a crush on for 30 years. He wants to
yeah,
have
and
sex with him.
he knew she existed because he saw her on the news
Yeah.
when he puked on that laptop. But like I don't know. I feel like it was a plant by his mom somehow. It just feels like she had so much control over him up until that point that it just seems like it's inevitable that it was because of her.
Yeah, and his mom is able to fake her own death. So his mom could easily like
She's got power, yeah,
not even fake her own death. She paid somebody to
to die.
die.
Yeah,
So like it's believable that she could make a sex doll that is robotic.
yeah.
Like that's the least far-fetched thing in this movie. And then the ending, dude, I don't even know what to think of the paddle boat scene.
I don't
Ah,
know either. I love his defense just being completely muffled and spitting like good facts because I think that that kind of like ties into like some social narrative where like people who are innocent don't have the best representation and like rich people have like all of the talk and all of the loud voices and they're just like pushing this narrative and I think like that might be like some social thing he's getting at there. But yeah, I know I didn't completely understand like what even happened. I mean, his boat just animatronically just flipped
flipped
over
over.
and like killed him basically. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like he was just fighting to explain like his life again after he did that the entire movie, and it just didn't end up in his favor. So yeah, that was a crazy ending, and it just yeah, I still don't know what to take away from it.
I think he actually dies. That's how I took it though. But I agree. I think your interpretation is similar to me, a little bit more articulate than I was even interpreting it. I just think his mom won at the end. Like his
Yeah,
mom controlled every asset of his life, and ultimately, like she was so controlling and so vile and so just such an awful human being that she Beau Beau was like broken in her eyes, and she was done with him. Like
yeah,
she and yeah, and I think she kills him. I don't
yeah,
know. I don't really know what other way to take it.
yeah.
I think he's dead. I
I
think he
think
gets
that's
killed.
all you could take away from Beau Is Afraid is that he ends up dying, and it's at the hand of his mom. At some extent, you know. I
Yeah.
wish he would have just finished the job with his hands around her throat. Actually, he did, didn't he? So I don't, because he did choke her out, and then she fell. Did he kill her?
I think he
So they
I think
both
he
died?
chokes her. No, I think he chokes her out, but he stops, right? He stops
Yeah,
himself.
but he falls. She falls. She like loses consciousness and falls into that glass, and then that's when he runs away and gets in the boat, and then she's there on the
Yeah, she's there at the last scene, right? I think she lives.
yeah, I don't know. It's just so hard to tell exactly what
It's
is
also
real.
it's
So
really
yeah,
dark, that scene too.
it
There's a lot
is.
of
It's just
darkness.
dark and gray, and it just like comes out of nowhere. And then the people slowly leaving the arena, I thought was like a cool way to like send the features and like all of the, yeah, I just thought it was a nice like way to like end the film. But yeah,
As the film ends though, I feel like I can almost hear Joaquin Phoenix's voice, even though he's underwater.
yeah, no, I know what you mean, and like I feel like it's just like that muffled sound, but I don't know. It does give you the sense that he's dead though at some point at the end of that movie, and it's just
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
ah, it's very it's just not exactly what I expected from that movie at all. And yeah, I could talk about it for hours.
Well, that's Beau Is Afraid. Anything else? And Ian had nothing else. All right, guys. I am back. That is the end of the rewind. Thank you for listening. For those that are worried that I wasn't drinking a wine while I was recording that podcast, fear not. I've been drinking wine while I was editing it. And for you guys, I have the 2022 Bench Cabaret. I guess the winery's bench. I guess. It's got a picture of a bench on the front. Super solid. Probably the best cab I've had, actually, since I've moved to Napa. So I like it a lot, actually. Thank you, Ian. That was a wonderful job. We really got into the weeds there, really explored a lot of stuff, and I think that was sweet. And if you like that, Eddington review is coming out on Wednesday of this week, end of July, and should be a good one. Thank you, Ian. Shout out to Keegan. Always. There'd be no rewind without him. But that's really it. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. All that stuff. Have a good one. Take care. Peace.
I think he really loves her. 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 To hold her diamond hands, they're living on the beach in his castle of sand. He really loves her. I think he really loves her. Well, come on, get it, and they're making waves. The glitter on her face reflected in her shape.